I'm Melissa.
And I'm Lisa.
We're realtors in the Shenandoah Valley.
We love what we do, and we love where we live, and we can't wait to show you.
Welcome to the channel. So Rick, tell me, I have to file a claim. How hard it is it to file a claim with you?
It's very easy.
Okay.
Text, email, 800 numbers. All carriers now have 24/7 service on claims, so it's pretty easy. Yeah.
And what kind of documentation am I going to need to be prepared so that, like, if something's happening, do I need to get a video quick before we stop it from happening, and call you? Or
hopefully you don't want to get the video while the smoke is rolling.
What is the best way to do that so that,
Do that before the fire.
Okay, gotcha.
You can send a pile. Look at this beautiful pile of ashes that used to be my whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you recommend videoing each room?
So you can take your phone, stand in the middle of a room, and just kind of circle around and comment on what you've got. So it makes it easy when the adjuster has to sit down, and because you have to file proof of loss. Basically, you sign an affidavit saying these are the items I've lost in a fire or whatever, and here's their values. So it's hard to do that when there's nothing. If it's a total loss in a fire, it's hard to do that when there's nothing left but ashes. So that's a good way to do it.
Just make sure you save it so that it doesn't wind up burning down the
Yeah,
house.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
In the cloud. Put it in the cloud.
I love the fact that you gave us some preventive stuff. Is there anything else maybe in that arena that you could
Claim for claim purposes?
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, anything, because I think it's really valuable for people to know, what can I do ahead of time?
Well, there's some controversy now with a certain carrier out in California they have all the total losses, a lot of total losses in Bel Air and all the other areas. And so some of the carriers, rather than just writing up the check for the total of their personal property coverage, are requiring that the claimant, the insurer, provide a list. And that's typical, that's normal. It's not, they're not playing hardball. Now in those cases, for PR purposes, they might have been better off just paying the claim. But all companies require that. It looks a lot worse when you've got this devastation and people are out of their homes and the media gets involved.
Heartless.
Yeah. So as I remind people, insurance companies are not benevolent societies.
Right.
They, to their credit, most of them try to do the right thing. There's always issues with some, and most of the time that's human error, but there's been cases where things aren't always done correctly and ethically. But for the most part, in my experience, companies do the right thing or try to do the right thing. So
Okay.
yep. But yeah, if you have that video somewhere, that can kind of help with the list and prove to the claim adjuster this person really did have this ornate piece of furniture or whatever. And then if you've got items that are, there's certain items in homeowners policies that have limits on them for theft, for example, firearms, jewelry, silverware. So if you have those type of things, you talk to the agent, you can schedule them. Like if your necklace is gold, yeah. So if it's, I think the limit now on jewelry is for theft they change this every few years. So I think it's $3,000. So if somebody breaks into your home, steals all your jewelry,
You get $3,000.
you get $3,000.
What if you have appraisals?
Unless you have them scheduled, you still get $3,000.
So you have to schedule
them separately.
Or buy costume jewelry. That's really...
There you go. Or buy costume jewelry, because you can't take it with you.
Yes.
She's thinking
Yes, or my 1970s vintage,
I never have really
whatever.
jewelry thing my wife
Yeah.
does.
Funny.
So that's, but if you're not concerned about theft, the other thing, if you schedule it, it does away with your deductible. And on jewelry, it even covers it if you lose it.
Oh, wow.
If it's damaged, if the diamond falls out or it gets damaged some way. So it's another way to to take care of those items that, you know, that are hard to replace or of extra value.
So one other thing we wanted to ask about was home warranties. We have lots of buyers that always say, you know, oh, what about a home warranty? So do you offer that sort of provision?
So you see those advertised a lot on television now.
Yep.
What carriers, at least the ones I'm familiar with, don't offer a home warranty, but they'll offer equipment breakdown coverage, which is similar. So I'll give you an example. I had on my homeowner's policy, I purchased equipment breakdown coverage, and it covers all your mechanics. If you've got a well, it covers the pump, your HVAC system, those type of things. It covers appliances as well. And normally the deductible is $500 in most of those endorsements, which is so it's not going to cover a microwave and those kind of things. But your big ticket like that. So it's very specific. It's mechanical failure. It's not normal wear and tear. So it's got to be something that breaks. And the endorsement, you know, they're usually a page long, and they're very specific about what they cover and don't cover. But just to give you an example, I had a heat pump. This was back in 2012, I think. It's been a while. So it just, one morning I got up and it was cool. It was about this time of year, and it should have been warm in the house, had the heat on, and it wasn't. And long story short, I had a technician come out, and he pulled the cover off, and there was just fluid everywhere. So the coolant had somehow escaped. Anyway, the piece that broke was about, you know, that long and about that thick. It was, you know, 50-cent piece of hardware. And it had split, and all the fluid, all the coolant had run out of it, had gotten down into the motor and all the fan system. And so he said, well, there's your problem. And I said, well, what do we do? He said, well, I can replace that, and then I can, you know, recharge it. And it was going to be about $1,200 because the coolant was so high. It was the old Freon stuff. Yep. I think at the time it was $70 a pound or something. So I said, well, wait a minute, before we go any further, let's call my insurance company. I said, because I just put this equipment breakdown endorsement on there, and I think this might be covered. And I asked him, I said, is that the fact that little piece broke, is that normal wear and tear? He said, no, that should last forever. That little copper fitting, there's no pressure, no real pressure, a lot of pressure on it. So we called the claims adjuster, and he chatted with her, and she said, well, what can you fix it? He said, I can fix it, and told her how much. But he said, you know, this thing, at the time that unit was 10 years old, 12 years old. He said, I may be out here next week for something else. So she agreed to replace the whole thing. So it was like $4,500.
Nice.
So yeah, for a 50-cent piece that broke.
Well,
so
that made a difference.
Yeah, so it's a good endorsement to have, and it's usually I don't know, it can run anywhere from $50 to $100, maybe a little more.
So anybody can get this.
Normally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unless there's an underwriting issue, but I haven't run into it.
Okay.
So if it gets through the main underwriting criteria for a carrier, that they'll usually add that endorsement.
And so we need to advise our clients to
ask about it.
Ask that.
Yeah. Ask if do you offer equipment
breakdown
Breakdown
coverage.
Rick, thank you so much for having us today.
Sure.
This has been very educational.
Thank you.
Yes, really helpful.
That was fun.
Good catching up.
Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah.